Hi friends, text analytics is a very important part of data science, and we all have there is a lot of presence on the social media with millions of people venting our emotions and opinions on various products and strategies. To use that data for any company and integrating that and leveraging that against the sales inventory and other data which is already internally present, it can be of a huge strategic benefit to the end company to be able to leverage that and know the opinions and hence increase the revenues and sales. For example, understanding in terms of a geolocation the sales of a particular product based on the sentiment of the people can help in inventory optimization. Additionally, for any particular geolocation or a particular product, understanding the sentiment of the people and their feedback can be very important in improving the product. So what we have today as a part of this project or a solution is we are going to study a particular product, and then we are going to study the sentiment of a particular product, and based on which we would try to draw some analytical insights. So what I have on this screen is a cognitive API, which is a text analytics API from Microsoft, which can be used as a plugin tool to score based on a particular text. It can give you the sentiment and the key phrases to analyze. That's something that I was trying to show. But then I would try to walk you through the solution that I have built, and it's a very generic one for any particular company, and how we can use or a product as an input to understand the sentiment of that particular product and hence some insights. So we are going to study Twitter today, and so let's go to the data model, and then let's start from there. So a couple of tables which I have here. Let me start with this. So we have the first table as config tag. This table is a configurable small table wherein you config the hashtags from the Twitter that you want to study. Now 2 days back in India, Reliance launched a new Jio phone. It is a featured phone, and it provides a lot of feature, and there is a lot of buzz because it's almost free. It's almost free of cost because it's about 1500 rupees of deposit. So it's a really great phone, and how it has been received by the general public and what are the sentiments around this phone is what we are attempting to study here in the various cities. So that's the motive of our solution. So we have used the geophone as the hashtag, and hence we have configured. So this table would receive the hashtags as an input, and then pull the tweets from R. Now I have used integration services just for the benefit of the user to be able to modularly explain each of these steps. I could have had one R script doing the entire thing, and pushing the final data into the MART in the form of a stored procedure. Now I'll walk you through step by step what each of them do here. So the first part is a batch file, and it's called gettweet.bat. So I take you there, gettweet.bat. So the gettweet.bat is essentially calling it's calling the R-exe, and it's calling the social analytics.r file, and it's running that. So let's jump on and open this social analytics.r, and what is it trying to do for us? So if you see here, this R code is basically using the Twitter R package, and it is with the help of the it's a free authorization token that you can generate from Twitter, and based on the customer key, customer secret, and the tokens and the secret key, this can be generated, and you can avail it from Twitter for free. Next, what you can do, not next, what we are trying to do here is basically we are truncating the table tweet dump, and we are fetching the tags, the IDs and the tags from the config tag table, which is whatever tags have been configured. We are trying to iterate across the tag, and we are hitting the Twitter to get the tweets. So we are executing that in a bunch of 3,900 tweets, because Twitter has an option to only allow for this free API, and the free Twitter R package, it allows about 4,000 calls. So we are just doing that under 4,000, and then we are iterating on each of the tags, collecting the data, and after the data collection is done, we are trying to form a data frame, convert it into a data frame. Here we are converting the data collected into a data frame, and then we are cleaning the data. We are kind of replacing the characters, and then we are writing that and uploading it into our tweet dump table. Now if you take a look at tweet dump, it is, or should I say first the file, let's check the file first. So this is the data file, which is which hits and collects the data, acquires the data from Twitter, converts it into a data frame, and then puts it into so that's the tag, and that's the Twitter actual text. So what we have here is, if you see, we have the text, the actual text, then we have the other columns. So we have favorited, favorite count, replied to, favorited, created, when was the tweet created, and the other important columns, the source from where the tweet was done, the screen name or the username who actually did the tweet, the retweet count, and the other the longitude and the latitude or the location from where the tweet was done. This is and then the text, this is the cleaned text. This is what we are trying to do all of here, and we are trying to create a cleaned text. So this is the code for that, and then we have the tag that we are trying to study. That's all this is doing, and then we are pushing this entire data into the tweet dump. So that's your tweet dump. The next step, again, let's go back to the integration. So this is the part of get tweets is doing. Then we are trying to clean the data. We are trying to clean the tweet dump for all the codes and special characters, and then we are going to load this data from the dump into the stage table. So this tweet dump is we are then loading the data into the data stage. That's the T-SQL based on the characters. So what we are, how does the stage table look like? Let's take a look. Okay, so that's our tweet clean data. Then we are converting, we are putting the hashtags, and then we have the source. We are cleaning up the source as well. Because the source has some more tags and the URLs, we are removing that, and then we have the usernames and the clean text. Next, what we are trying to do here is we are running this core tweet.r. So here, if you see, it's actually the score tweet.bat that is being called here in the SSIS package. The score tweet.bat is simply pulling or calling the score tweets.r. The score tweets.r is actually the one which is scoring the sentiment score on top of it's a R code. So it is basically scoring each of the tweet texts, and then it is writing the tweet on the score table. So that's the score table. It writes the tweet on the score table. Now the sentiment score, I have bucketized that into the value from -3 to +3, and then we are trying to create the dimension. So if you were to see the dim sentiment, if you see this table, we'll have a range. So what I'm saying is we have a value from extremely positive to positive, neutral, negative, and extremely negative. So I have bucketized. Usually the sentiment scores range from 0 to 1, and a value of 0.5 is said to be about neutral. So 0.5 is about a neutral one. So I'm just trying to bucketize that into a value from 1 to 5, and to be able to draw a meaningful conclusion. That's the scoring part. In the scoring part, what we are trying to do is we are going to, at the data stage, we are going to update the sentiment scores for all the tweets. And then once that's done, we are going to load it into the mart. So next, from the dump table or from the stage table, we are loading the data into the different dimensions and the facts. Now let's take a look at what are the tables we have for dimensions. So we have dim R, which has the R key ranging between 0 to 23. It says the hours when the tweet was done, whether the tweet was done between midnight to 1 o'clock. That's what the 00 means. 01 means from midnight to 1 o'clock. 00 means from 11 p.m. to midnight, and so on and so forth. So that's the R dimension. Next we have the date dimension. The date dimension has the data ranging from the day, month, year, and the date. Next we have the users, different users, and when the users got added into the system. Next we have the source coming in. What are the different sources from where the tweets were done? We have the dim geo, from where the tweets were done, and the location, the longitude and the latitude, and then we transform that into location. Then we have the dim tag that we are trying to study, that's as a dimension. And next we have the tweet fact, the final tweet fact, which has an integration with all of these keys. And then we have the sentiment key, the R key, user key, source, tag, geo, and then the favorited. It's a bit value, whether the tweet was favorited or not, the favorite count, retweet, and the retweet, whether it was retweeted or not. Next, that's the load part. That's the SQL trying to do. That's your load of the mart. So let's try. So currently, let's see what's our tweet fact count like. I have been collecting data for past 2 days. We have about 8409, and this is on a delta basis. So in that case, let me try and run the code once for you and collect the delta, whatever has been accumulated so far. So okay, so the package has succeeded. Now let's go back and check how many of them got loaded. So we have some more delta flowing in. We tried to load 4000, but there hasn't been any more than about 500 delta coming in so far in the day. So that's good. Now with this mart that has been there, what next I have done or attempted is I have built a tabular model. The tabular model looks something like this. I have the dim date, the user, the R, the dim source against a centralized fact in a star schema. We have the dimensions with all across. So we have about 7 dimensions across a tabular model. So I'll discuss the development of this tabular model in my next blog in detail. I'll try and develop for you online. So I'll just move and switch back to my there you go. This is the mart that we have. So let's try and study. Let's try to just browse this. So we have three measures. I've just created three hypothetical measures: the total tweets, total retweets, and the total favorite count against these dimensions, that is date, geo, r, sentiment, score. So let's just see total tweets and how many of them against the sentiments. So we have the positives. We have about 2,500 as positives, and extremely positive as 678, and then we have the negative ones and the neutral ones. So that's there. Now let's take a look at the hourly distribution of this. So let's plot it against the hours, the tweets that mostly occurred at 4 a.m. in the morning, and then we have 10 a.m. onwards, a lot of tweets coming in across the day, which is kind of natural. And then the geo, let's go with the location. If we can see, let me remove that out, and just so we have the tweets by cities, and then also by the dates. So if I let's try the date. So I've been collecting the data for last 3 days. So we have these for the last 3 days, and the R we already have checked that. Then the source, let's check for the source for each of the days, or rather what were the sources. So max, I think Twitter for Android scores the maximum tweets coming in. Okay, that's good. Now let's try what are the tags that we are trying to study. We've studied only one tag. Great, that's more like the cube for you. Next, why did I actually go ahead and build the cube is for the visualization, is for being able to so let's try and process this cube, because I think we have run the package, the SSIS package once in the data collection. So let's also process the delta records that have flown in. So okay, so I just go ahead and process the cube to be able to reflect that onto my dashboard, which is the end part of the solution, a self-served dashboard. So I'll be introducing you to the Power BI, the self-served Power BI dashboard to the end users. So yes, we have processed the cube. That's done. I'm jumping onto the Power BI. There you go. So let me refresh that for you. Yes, so essentially what I have done is I have exposed the entire cube here, and if you see, I've exposed all of that with the cube, and I have enabled a dashboard. So what this dashboard has is it has the hourly distribution of the tweets, total tweets by hour. We are trying to study the hashtag that's for geophone. So how was the geophone trending on Twitter? What were the sources? We have Twitter for Android as 57% of tweets coming in from Twitter for Android. The total sentiments overall that were neutral, positive, negative, extremely positive, and so on and so forth. The favorite count and the cities. So let's try to study Twitter for Android. So there you go. Now we are able to cut across and see for Twitter for Android overall the hourly distribution. I think across the day we had a lot of users coming in from Twitter for Android, and I think 1700 were about positives from the source. So we know what was the source. How about iPhone doing that? Okay, that's great. That's great. So let's just study Mumbai tweets. So there you go, the Mumbai tweets overall. We have about the favorite count 1400 from Mumbai coming in. So as you can see, one slicer, it's a universal slicer, and it works across the entire chart. So next, let's try to study the hourly pattern. So how was the 11 o'clock tweets? There you go, mostly positive. 11 o'clock, I think of 989 tweets, 454 were positives. So I think overall, if we were to study, we can say that the geophone, the sentiment of geophone across the country is being pretty positive, and we have studied the sentiment and the polarity and how it has flared across. The solution overall is a very generic solution, wherein you just need to add another hashtag that you want to study, and then you could cut across on the dashboard and visualize it appropriately. The entire solution can also be built in terms of scoring from the cognitive API from Microsoft Azure, but this is more of a R driven kind of a solution. We can move this complete solution onto Azure as well. So I think overall this was just trying to show you the strategic advantage that you will get building upon this sentiment kind of a solution overall from a product's perspective. So we understand from most of the tweets, most of the positive tweets, for example for geophone, most of the positive tweets will be an indicator by the location for the sales, for overall arranging the sales and optimizing your inventory to be able to cater to more consumers. Let's say if it were to be Mumbai, you would attempt to sell more geophones in Mumbai based on the positive sentiments across the city. And again, understanding also the browsers and so many other things. So I think that this was a more of a showcasing the power of text analytics overall. And I think and I hope that this platform or this can work as a platform to the general users. Next, I would simply try to build, since I have not done a demo on Tabular Cube, I will just use the data from this mart and try and develop the tabular model for you and showcase how we can build a small and a quick tabular model for our development needs. Thank you so much. I think that was quite a demo for the platform, and I hope that you guys have positive things about this channel. Please do share and subscribe my YouTube channel if you like the content, and if you have any questions on the code and or you need it, drop by a comment. I'll try to share it with you. Thank you so much. You have a great weekend. Thank you.